It shouldn't be the case after decades of use of testosterone replacement therapy in men that there are men that go on TRT that don't have vascular disease but have erectile dysfunction. But it is the case. Unfortunately, based on a variety of factors, the information that's on the web, how people are injecting, how much people are injecting, what their metabolite hormones are doing in their body, and some outside forces that are unrelated to TRT itself, that there are people on testosterone replacement therapy that have erectile difficulties, have to use Cialis, have to use Viagra for sex. It shouldn't be the case. Now, look, there are many reasons that men have erectile difficulties, and let's break them down in this video. But I want to break down 4 of them. 4 of them I think are some of the most important ones that everybody needs to look at. If this is you, I'm going to clear up why, so please stick around. Look, Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance and sexual dysfunction resolution company. I have created cutting-edge precision tools to help you dial in on TRT, and you can find them in the description of this video. The most popular video course we have is High Dose TRT Mastery. If you're tired of playing with small TRT and want to dial in libido and erections and the anabolism on high doses of tests, this is what this video course is for. It's actually 20% off. Code's on the screen. You can get it down in the description of this video. The digital playbook everybody on TRT needs to have, Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT with any ester. All right, you can get this down below. It's a downloadable digital PDF, and that's 20% off too. And there are courses on both testosterone cypionates for dialing in sexual function, as well as testosterone cream for dialing in sexual function. That can also be found in the description of this video. For the last 7.5 years and moving forward, we provide coaching for men on TRT and consults. The most popular consults lately have been the TRT Protocol Audit. It's a 25-minute call with yours truly where I will audit and analyze your protocol and give you suggestions on how to fix your biggest problems. You can book that at the website in under a minute. And the actual most popular consult targeted specifically toward fixing libido and erection problems on TRT is the TRT Sexual Function Enhancement Consult. It's 45 minutes with me, and we'll actually generate protocols that are tailored for you to walk away with and fix your biggest problems. For those that want long-term one-on-one coaching, that's available too at 50% off. Codes on the screen, and all that stuff you can find in the description of this video. I have discussed this before, but the first primary reason that people are having erectile dysfunction or erectile difficulties on TRT is both the ejection amount and the injection frequency. To put it simply, if you are not injecting enough testosterone on TRT, regardless of where estrogen is, regardless of whether or not you have HCG or no HCG, you're going to have erectile dysfunction. If it's not enough of an androgenic threshold for you to cross, there won't be enough optimization via DHT specifically of the smooth muscle function, the endothelium, and the nitric oxide systems of your penis for you to have adequate erections. It's not going to happen. I've done a lot of content on this, but what everybody needs to understand is that there is, in fact, an androgenic threshold. Specifically, the threshold in a test itself does contribute to erections, but mainly dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, that you need to cross in order to have satisfactory erections. And the best way to gauge if you've crossed it or not is to dose more testosterone until you reach a state where you have very consistent nocturnal erections. If you've got nocturnal erections that are very consistent, you've reached the androgen threshold for the machinery. We're thinking about the machinery of the penis for erections to work. Okay, then dialing in tactile erections or erections to the touch, as well as libido, that's more of a CNS thing where you've got to focus on estrogen neurotransmitters and neurosteroids to dial that in. But erections themselves are a matter of DHT. They're a matter of an androgen threshold. The advice to inject testosterone very frequently in micro amounts, people have to think about this, and I've been a proponent of this for a long time so that folks understand this. If you've got a small little depot in the injection depot, there is a lot less testosterone to cause what will ultimately be a significantly lower end peak of androgen, specifically DHT, compared to either a larger dose of that semi-frequent injection or a larger amount of testosterone at once injected less frequently. The peaks on your blood are going to be substantially higher with a larger amount versus daily injections. Everybody knows this. Some people do daily injections and they're absolutely fine because they're not needing like a significant amount of androgens, and they have enough androgens, and after they get to steady state, it's enough. They're sitting at 1100 or 900 or whatever. The ratios fall in place, their erections work fine. But other people are going to need to be peaking at 15, 16, 1700. I mean, how we used to do TRT is we just injected a bolus of testosterone once a week, and some of those guys are peaking at 17, 18, 1900, as high as 2000 nanograms per deciliter, and then they trough back downward. And it's necessary for them to have that a level of androgens in order for the smooth muscle function, the DHT, the nitric oxide, to facilitate erectile quality. It might not be that your dose is wrong. Let's say you're at 150 milligrams a week, but you're doing it, doing daily injections. It might just be that you need to gap that out and do the whole 150, like 120 every fifth day. I mean, that's a pretty popular protocol. It gives you the chance to see, do I need more androgens at once to satisfy the mechanics of erections? Usually people do. Second major reason that people have erectile difficulties on TRT is estrogen's ratio is out of balance with DHT. Estrogen itself has an inhibitory effect via catecholamines in the penis, via reducing penile base rigidity, among some other mechanisms mainly related to estrogen receptor binding inside the cavernosa of the penis. If it's out of balance with DHT, it causes erectile dysfunction. And that's why I'm such a proponent, especially on the lower end or medium end doses of TRT, to manage estradiol, or just be aware of it and try to get the ratios in check. As you go oddly into higher doses of testosterone, estrogen tends to matter a lot less, as contradictory as that sounds. Why? Because you have enough DHT, which acts counter to estradiol at the tissues to offset the elevated estradiol. But if you're down there at the lower end doses, you really don't have enough DHT. So therefore, you have an imbalance in estradiol to DHT, and that causes erectile dysfunction. People typically solve this. They don't want to raise their dose by adding a little more DHT. You can do that exogenously. You can find some DHT in source list, or by taking things like Proviron, which you could also find in source list, or otherwise DHT derivatives that act in a similar fashion, right? AR binding, getting you the androgen that you need, while also in some cases managing estradiol with those compounds. But again, one of the other ways to do that, to fix this, is to change the injection amount and the injection frequency. If you move up to 170, 180, 200 milligrams, 210 milligrams a week of test, and you're getting a lot of that testosterone at once, typically tends to balance out where even though on the blood you have elevated estradiol, you have enough DHT to counterbalance that estradiol to foster erections themselves, and you end up in a ratio that's completely fine. You've got libido, you've got erections, everything fires normally. So whatever the case is, whether you're down at the medium to lower end doses, and you might have to actually lower the estradiol with a microdose of Arimidex, a microdose of Aromacin, or every other day dosing of zinc in order to keep it under control, or you decide to go big with TRT and get gapped out larger injections where the DHT covers the estrogen for you. If you're not doing these things, you're going to have erectile dysfunction on TRT. Third reason, and this is probably going to piss a bunch of people off or maybe make you think like, crap, this is something I might have to remove from my protocol. I've seen this pattern consistently over the years as a coach when we have not been able to fix erections, but there was one thing that was in the person's regimen independent of TRT that once we removed it, the erections came back. And unfortunately, brothers, it was nicotine. Now, I've had smokers in my day, actual cigarette smokers, and I've had chain vapors, like long-term chain vapors that in their history they've been vaping for many, many years. And the nicotine exposure specifically with vaping and some of these cartridges that are 3 milliliter cartridges, they're using 6 to 12 milligrams of nicotine per. So, if you think about it, there's just like 6, right? 6 milligrams per milliliter for those of you that vape, and a 3 mil cartridge, that's 18 milligrams of nicotine in just one of your cartridges. You can go through that in 2 hours if you're chain vaping. You can go through that in an hour. That's a lot of nicotine exposure. Remember, a cigarette is about 2 milligrams of nicotine. You're probably absorbing maybe 1.7, 1.6, 1.7 milligrams of nicotine over that time. Nicotine is a very, very potent vasoconstrictor. And over time, nicotine itself can cause a degree of vascular damage via the consistent constriction where things start to go wrong. If there are all manner of pain syndromes associated with loads of nicotine over time via the constriction of blood vessels, what do you think that nicotine is doing to the blood vessels in your penis? It's not good, guys. I've done all the literature on it. I've done all the research of the literature on it, and I've had people reduce significantly or eliminate nicotine in cases where we couldn't get the erection straight and everything looked fine. And then the erections came back. The nocturnals came back. They didn't need Cialis anymore for sex. They'd have random erections. And their libido was much better too, because nicotine is very neurologic, binds to the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, which has a lot to do with your arousal. So I'm not saying nicotine is necessarily causing your problem, but if you tried everything else, you got to look at your nicotine load, drastically reduce it, right? Try if the vaping seems to be the most popular thing out there. And I've dealt with it like for years as a coach, especially in the last year and a half, 2 years. I've had to have people move down in nicotine concentration, get a 0% nicotine, a 0 milligram nicotine, and then maybe a 3 milligram per milliliter nicotine concentration. Mix them so you end up at 1.5. And you don't have a massive vasoconstrictive or blood vessel constrictive load, which inhibits your erections, right? You get that down to a reasonable amount, the erections come back. I've seen it over and over again. So consider nicotine, please. I know that people love it. I honestly like nicotine and ingest it sometimes in various forms, not a lot of it, but it can absolutely cause erectile dysfunction on TRT, and I've seen it. Last thing, and this is something that a lot of people have to look at, medications or supplements that are either serotonergic or prolactogenic. All right. This isn't a huge contributor because not a lot of people are like throwing down loads of 5-HTP, which is heavily serotonergic. But some people are, they're taking nootropic compounds that might be serotonergic. They're taking otherwise supplements that might be serotonergic. And obviously the elephant in the room, or at least the low-hanging fruit, is taking selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors or anything else that creates more serotonin between synapses in the brain so that serotonin is a lot more available. Well, that's going to shut down, first of all, central nervous system dopamine firing in a way which is going to cause its own version of erectile dysfunction. At the same time, serotonin is prolactogenic, right? It fosters these cells on the pituitary to secrete prolactin. They're called lactotropes. Serotonin is one of the biggest drivers of that. It's So do an analysis of your supplements and the drugs that you might be taking. If anything is serotonergic and you can figure out how to remove it and you've tried everything else, you probably get your erectile quality back on TRT. Same thing goes with prolactin, and there's a lot of things that cause excess prolactin. One being in some susceptible individuals, very elevated estradiol can cause that via desensitizing the dopamine D2 receptors on the pituitary from the dopamine response. That's one of the things that estrogen does that is not good for us. But at the same time, there are chemicals like kratom, marijuana. In some cases, the literature is kind of back and forth on that. Any opioid receptor agonists that you might have, whether it's medications or whether, again, it's like supplemental like kratom or otherwise, these things are prolactogenic. And if you want a surefire way to kill your erections, it's elevated prolactin. It will definitely kill your erections. Listen, the reason that we talk about so much about sexual function on TRT is because it's effectively all we do. I mean, yeah, we see guys in a coaching capacity that are on cycles and want advice on cycles or want advice on sports TRT, dialing in sexual function on said protocols. But largely, we restore sexual function for guys that are on TRT. And look at if you just need an audit of what you're doing, like me to analyze your entire protocol and give you suggestions on what to change, the cheapest option is the TRT protocol audit. You can book that in like a minute. You and I are on the fact finding call like the next day, and then you've got your answers and you can move forward. Okay, link is down in the description of this video. I'd love to have you on board, bro. The most popular actual sexual function consult has been the TRT Sexual Function Enhancement Consult. This is 45 minutes with me, but I'm not just going to give you advice. I'm going to generate you a bunch of protocols that are targeted for your body based on your history and your markers, right? This is probably the best way without doing long-term coaching to get my help for libido and erection problems on TRT. However, listen, for longer-term coaching, if you want one-on-one with me where you've got me at your beck and call for 3 straight months or 6 straight months, we've got coaching packages, both a 3 and a 6 month coaching program, and you can book those in under a minute with the coupon code 50 now, and it will save you 50% off the price. It's many thousands of dollars per coaching program that you can save using that coupon code. I like doing the longer term one-on-one. Like I like kind of being in somewhat frequent contact and helping people make massive progress to fix their biggest problems over a long period of time. So if you want to book me, you can do that. Discounted, all links and codes are down in the description of this video. Again, we've got a bunch of digital products that are targeted toward dialing you in on TRT. High-dose TRT mastery is if you're tired of playing small with these lower-end medium doses of TRT, get this course. It teaches you exactly how to fix that, get crazy anabolism on TRT, but also fix sexual function. You could download that in a minute from now. It's down in the description. Brother, you're going to love it. Look, we've got a source list. We've got Mastering Testosterone Cream for Sexual Function. That's a video course. Mastering Testosterone Cypionate over here to the right. A digital playbook, Mastering Libido and Erections on TRT. All this stuff can be found in the description of this video. You got every single tool you need to dial in on TRT right there. Listen, brother, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you. If you're still here, would you do me 2 favors? Number 1, like the video. Makes a huge difference to me and our channel. And number 2, sub the channel. I'd love to have you on board. We're going to continue talking about this until I'm blue in the face like my shirt. All right, I'm going to leave you with one video that is on this topic that ties it all together. I'll put it right here, so you should go watch that. Please click through. It's not long, and it won't be a waste of your time. In fact, I think it's going to help you. Otherwise, bro, kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you in the next one.